When Dad was gone, I thought family meant safety. But Mom's new boyfriend proved me wrong. What seemed like discipline turned into something darker. I cried out for help, but no one believed me. Lies covered the truth until it exploded. This is the story that changed everything. I never wanted a stepdad. When my mom remarried, I told myself I'd stay quiet, polite, and invisible. After all, I was 16, old enough to know better, too young to have any power. But from the very first day, I could feel it. Something about Thomas wasn't right. At first, it was little things. The way he rearranged the furniture without asking, like he was erasing every trace of my dad. The way he frowned when Mom laughed too loud, like joy itself bothered him. The way he stared at me a little too long when I spoke, calculating, as if my words were puzzles he had to solve. I told myself I was overreacting. Mom seemed happy for the first time in years. After Dad passed away, she was broken shadows under her eyes, silence in every room. Thomas brought her flowers, cooked dinners, told her she deserved better. She glowed when she looked at him. For a while, I even tried to believe his act. But then he started showing his true colors. It began with rules. From now on, he said one morning, pouring himself coffee like he owned the place. No phone at the dinner table, and curfew is 9 p.m. sharp. I stared at him, confused. Mom never... He cut me off with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Well, Mom isn't the man of the house, is she? The words burned. But Mom just looked down, silent. That silence hurt worse than anything. Over the next weeks, his control grew tighter. He started checking my phone to make sure I wasn't hiding anything. He forced me to join him for early morning jogs, even though I hated running. He criticized the music I liked, the clothes I wore, even the friends I brought home. This house has standards now, he would say. But whose standards? His? The worst part was how he treated Mom. At first it was subtle, telling her she didn't need dessert for her health, suggesting she wear different clothes less colorful, more respectable, complimenting her in public but at home, nitpicking everything. Did you really think that dinner was cooked properly? You're spending too much time on nonsense. You're lucky I'm patient. I wanted to scream at him, but Mom always defended him. He just cares, she whispered once when I confronted her. He wants the best for us. No, he wanted control. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late, past midnight. I had sneaked downstairs to grab a snack when I heard voices in the living room. At first, I thought Mom and Thomas were arguing, but then I froze. It wasn't Mom's voice. It was a man's. Deep, rough, unfamiliar. You owe us, the stranger hissed. I said I'm handling it, Thomas replied, his voice low but sharp. You've been saying that for months. The money's due. No more excuses. My heart pounded. Money? Debt? What was going on? I peeked from the stairwell. A tall man in a leather jacket stood inches from Thomas, his fists clenched. Thomas wasn't the confident, smug stepdad. I knew he looked cornered, nervous, almost desperate. Just one more week, Thomas begged. I'll get it, I promise. The man leaned in. 1 week, or everyone finds out what you really are. I ducked back, trembling. What did that mean? What secret? The next morning, Thomas acted like nothing happened. He smiled at Mom, made pancakes, teased me about being grumpy before school. But I couldn't forget what I'd seen. His mask was slipping. I decided to dig. First, I searched his office. He had a locked drawer in his desk, and one afternoon when he went jogging without me, I picked the lock with a bobby pin. My hands shook as the drawer slid open. Inside were stacks of papers, receipts, and my breath caught bundles of cash wrapped in rubber bands. Tens of thousands of dollars. I flipped through the papers. Fake business contracts, loan agreements, IOUs, all signed by Thomas. My stomach twisted. He wasn't just debt, he was drowning in it. And then I found a small black notebook. Inside were names, numbers, addresses. Some had red X's through them. One entry made my blood run cold. My mom's name. Next to it, a dollar amount, $200,000. I slammed the notebook shut, panic flooding me. Why was her name there? Was she part of his scheme? Or was she a target? That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with possibilities. Was Thomas a con artist? A criminal? Was Mom in danger? The next day, I tried to tell her. Mom, I whispered while Thomas was out. Something's wrong with him. He's lying to you. He's hiding things. She frowned, brushing my hair like I was still a kid. Sweetheart, you're just stressed. Thomas has been nothing but good to us. Mom, please. She cut me off. Enough, I won't hear another word. It was like talking to a wall. Thomas had her under his spell. But I couldn't ignore the truth. The more I watched him, the more cracks I saw. Late-night phone calls, disappearing for hours without explanation, whispers in the garage. Once, I caught him shoving something into the trunk of his car, slamming it shut when he noticed me. And then, one evening, everything exploded. We were sitting at dinner when a knock came at the door. Thomas stiffened. Mom went to answer it, and I followed. Two men stood outside, both rough-looking, their eyes cold. Thomas here? One asked. Before Mom could respond, Thomas appeared, his face pale. I'll handle this. He stepped outside, closing the door behind him. Mom looked worried, but he forced a smile. Just business partners, he said through the glass. I pressed my ear to the door. You think you can hide? One of the men growled. We want our cut. I just need time, Thomas pleaded. Don't involve my family. Then pay up, the other snapped. Or maybe your little stepdaughter will help remind you what's at stake. My blood ran ice cold. They were threatening me. Mom pulled me away, but I couldn't forget the words. That night, I locked my bedroom door and sat awake, shaking. Who was Thomas, really? What was he involved in? And how long before his secrets destroyed us? The next morning, I made a decision. I was done being silent. I had to know the truth, even if it meant risking everything. But what I didn't realize was that Thomas already suspected me, and he was watching. The morning after those men came to the door, I couldn't shake their words. Or maybe your little stepdaughter will help remind you what's at stake. Every time I replayed it in my head, my stomach twisted tighter. I wanted to believe it was just a threat. Empty words meant to scare Thomas, but the way they looked at me, sharp, hungry, cruel, told me otherwise. I knew one thing. I wasn't safe. That day at school, I barely focused. My best friend Claire asked if I was okay. I almost told her everything, but the fear of dragging her into this nightmare stopped me. I was trapped in silence again, carrying secrets too heavy for a 16-year-old. When I got home, Thomas was waiting in the living room, sitting in Dad's old chair like a king on his throne. His smile chilled me. Rough day? He asked casually. I froze. Had he guessed that I overheard everything? I'm fine, I muttered. He leaned forward, his eyes locking onto mine. You know, trust is important in a family. Secrets destroy people, don't you think? My throat went dry. Did he mean my secrets? Or his? That night, I couldn't resist. I crept downstairs, slipped into the garage, and opened the trunk of Thomas's car. What I found nearly made me scream. Inside were stacks of boxes, taped shut. I tore one open with shaking hands and stared in disbelief. Fake IDs, dozens of them. Different names, photos, even passports. My heart hammered as I flipped through them, each one another lie, another life. Then I found the black duffel bag. Heavy. I unzipped it just enough to see inside. Bundles of cash wrapped in plastic, and beneath them, a gun. I stumbled back, my breath ragged. My stepdad wasn't just in debt. He was a criminal. Maybe worse. Suddenly, a voice cut through the silence. What do you think you're doing? I spun around. Thomas stood in the doorway, his silhouette blocking the light. His face was unreadable, but his eyes burned with fury. I was just, I stammered. Spying on me? He stepped closer. Looking where you don't belong? I backed away, my hands trembling. What is all this, Thomas? Who are you really? For a moment, he just stared. Then he laughed. A low, bitter laugh that made my skin crawl. You really want to know? Fine. I'll tell you. I'm the man who saved your mother from drowning in grief. I'm the man who built this family from ashes. And if I have to bend the rules to keep it all afloat, so be it. This isn't bending the rules, I cried. This is lying, stealing. Those men, they threatened me. His face darkened. Stay out of it or you'll regret it. He stepped forward, and for the first time, I truly believed he could hurt me. I barely slept. My mind raced with plans. Tell Mom, go to the police, run away. But Thomas's warning echoed in my head. What if he was watching me every second? What if he found out before I could escape? The next day, Mom noticed my pale face. Sweetheart, what's wrong? I opened my mouth to finally tell her everything, but then Thomas walked in. His hand slid around her waist, his smile rehearsed. And I froze. If I accused him now, she'd never believe me. Not without proof. So I decided I'd get proof. For the next week, I lived in fear. Thomas grew more controlling than ever, checking my phone, accidentally walking into my room without knocking, asking me strange questions like, "You been talking to anyone about me?" But while he watched me, I watched him. I tracked his calls, memorized the numbers he dialed. I wrote down the addresses from his notebook. I even stole one of the fake IDs and hid it in my backpack. Every move was a risk, but I was desperate. Then, one night, everything came crashing down. I woke to the sound of shouting outside. Peeking through my window, I saw headlights flashing. A black SUV was parked in the driveway. The same men from before stormed out, yelling at Thomas. "You think we're playing?" One shouted. "We want the money now." Thomas hissed back. "I told you I'll deliver." The other man grabbed him by the collar. "Clock's ticking, and if you don't pay, maybe your little family here will." My blood ran cold. They weren't bluffing. That night, I packed a small bag. If Thomas wouldn't protect us, I'd protect Mom even if she hated me for exposing him. The next morning, I tried again. "Mom, please. You don't know who Thomas really is. He's lying to you. He has debts, fake IDs, guns." She gasped. "Stop it, Daniel. Enough. Why are you trying to ruin this for me? For us?" "Because he's dangerous," I shouted. Tears filled my eyes. "He's going to drag us down with him." But she wouldn't listen. She turned away, shaking her head. Behind her, I saw Thomas watching from the hallway, his face cold, satisfied. That afternoon, I made my choice. I skipped school, took the fake ID I'd stolen, and went to the police station. My hands shook as I placed it on the desk. "My stepdad," I whispered. "He's not who he says he is." The officer's eyes narrowed. He asked me questions, lots of them. I told him everything. The debts, the men, the notebook, the trunk. By the end, he nodded grimly. "You did the right thing," he said, "but you need to be careful. If what you're saying is true, your stepdad is mixed up with some very dangerous people." He promised to investigate. They told me to act normal, to not let him suspect. But Thomas was smarter than I thought. That evening, as I sat at the dinner table, my phone buzzed. A new message. No name, just words that made my heart stop. "We know you went to the cops. Big mistake." I looked up slowly. Thomas was watching me, his lips curled into a thin smile. The next 48 hours were chaos. Police raided our house. They found the cash, the IDs, the gun. Thomas was dragged out in handcuffs while Mom sobbed, begging them to stop. He shouted my name, his voice full of venom. "You think you've won? You think you're safe? This isn't over, Daniel." Even as they shoved him into the car, his eyes burned into me. It's been months since then. Thomas is awaiting trial. The police say his crimes stretch further than anyone imagined. Fraud, money laundering, identity theft, ties to dangerous gangs. Mom still hasn't forgiven me. Some days she won't even look at me, blaming me for destroying the man she loved. That hurts more than anything. But deep down, I know I did the right thing. I saved us. I saved her. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if Thomas meant what he said, that it isn't over. I wonder if one day he'll come back. And every time the thought creeps in, I check the locks on my door, curl up under the blanket, and whisper to myself, I'm not afraid. Not anymore.